You were champing at the bit there, like I was straight in there as soon as I dialed.
Listen, I've been ready since about 7 o'clock, mate. I've been sitting in this spare room, farting about in the computer, looking at all the Rangers headlines. I've been raring to go.
You had a spare half an hour, just have a wank.
It's all right, mate. You'll grow into that. Trust me. That'll. As soon as you have 43, 44, these things just don't interest you anymore, mate. That's it. Your main pleasure in life will be just to piss folk off. That's it. That's the start of it.
You're simply the best.
Is that your Sean Connery version of Simply the Best there, mate?
You don't really want to get me started,
Dave. Right, going you go. Doing the tunnel and on the pitch, for God's sake.
Next thing on the 32nd... Sorry, fuck's sake, I'm having a nightmare already. Tiredness, that's what it is.
Oh, didn't give me a pitch. I've had 3 hours sleep the day. Didn't give it. I'm not interested. Aye. Whipple.
Just as well we're not on the radio, eh?
I know, but if we were on the radio, you would have had like an assistant there just to sort of put an advert on or something like that, you know what I mean?
And the stadium erupts in red, white and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go.
Manchester, brace yourself. Rangers are coming!
Hi everyone and welcome to the next episode of the I Ready podcast. As ever, I'm your host Derek and with me is my co-host Dave. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm very well, Derek. Right, hold on. Hold on. That's better, mate. Yes, I'm doing very well. That was my obligatory Pepsi Max opening at the start of the show and it tastes lovely. Yes, really happy to be here, Derek. Looking forward to this one. Again, it's been another fantastic week, hasn't it? So I'm looking forward to your analysis of the matches, especially the first game that you're going to cover.
Yeah, fantastic all round, and you can't really complain, especially with the way things have gone with the other side of Glasgow as well, but that's another story for another day. 2 games to cover tonight, obviously the Standard Liege game and the Livingston game as well. A few bits and pieces in the news, not as much as normal, and Dave, you've got a classic match as well.
I certainly have, Derek. A classic match drawn up about a week ago after all the slagging that you do, me being lazy and doing everything at the last minute and everything like that. And I've been sitting with this match reporter on my desk for about a week now, so no slagging me off.
I wasn't going to bring it up as well. That was on you.
Aye, you would if I didn't have one though, wouldn't you?
Yes, so we'll get into that in due course. So, as ever, we'll go down the tunnel and onto the pitch. Yeah, so the first game we've got to cover is the 2-0 victory away against Standard Liege in the Europa League game 1 of Group D, which was on Thursday the 22nd of October. What a fantastic result and performance, wasn't it?
Derek, I was supremely confident before the game. During the game, I'll let you get into exactly everything that happens. I still can't quite believe what happened at the end of the match, something that I think that we're going to speak about quite in depth. So I've got a few things to speak to you about that. It was just a fantastic performance all round, Derek. And these European nights for us are just absolutely fantastic. We seem to be fearless, Derek, at the moment, especially in Europe, and it's just absolutely brilliant to witness all these years that I've been following my team and watching them dominating Scotland and, you know, being made to look a lot of the times like an amateur team in European competition. Certainly over the last few seasons, it's not been like that at all. We've been absolutely fantastic. So I'll let you get into the game.
Yep. So there was 3 changes from the Old Firm game going into this game. We lined up McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Balogun, Barisic, Arfield, Jack, Kamara, Hadji, Kent and Morelos. On the subs bench we had McLaughlin, Bassey, Helander, Davis, Itten, Patterson, Aribo, Barker, Stewart, Roof, Burjonas and King. So Balogun coming into the team, which was, I'm not sure if it was a bit of a surprise because Helander had played great in the Old Firm game, but I think if what my memory serves me right, he had picked up a wee knock and they just didn't want to risk him. Certainly not something they put him out the team entirely, but they just didn't want to risk him that way.
But at the same time, Derek, Helander has been outstanding for us. He really has, ever since he came back. Just like what you said there, when Balogun first came into the team, we were like, my God, what a fantastic player we've got here. And for us to be able to switch the two of them in such a huge game, and for him to have played as well as he did, it's absolutely brilliant, Derek. I mean, the depth that we have in the team just now, and to have three, quality central defenders that we can put in, chop and change, is absolutely tremendous. And we've still got Edmondson in there and Katic that's injured, so the centre of defence is just looking really healthy, isn't it? And as you say, it was a bit of a surprise at first, but the fact that we had a guy as good as him to come in and replace Helander is, it's just absolutely tremendous.
It was an interesting first half. Both teams having their periods of possession. It was a pretty even game, but Liege actually had the better of the chances and they hit the bar twice. Technically only once because one of them was a handball as well. We got our goal from a penalty on our period of decent play. They were quite confident about knocking the ball up, but we were equally quite happy to mop anything up and snuff out any of the attacks that they threw at us. On occasion, we did dick about at the back, which has been against what we've been doing this year so far. It's been pretty no-nonsense stuff generally all season, where we were quite happy to take the ball on, and we did look very confident with the ball, which was something that we couldn't be said last year when we were trying to be the clever bastard, the clever pick at the back. So getting into the game here, on the 10th minute, it was a long cross from the left into the back post by Barisic. Tavernier tries a volley, but mishits it and hits off his other leg. The ball cleared to the edge of the box. Kent was about to unleash a first-time shot, but the defender managed to just nip in and get the ball away in time there. And on the 17th minute, it was a penalty to us. Corner whipped in from the right by Tavernier. Goldson gets his head to it, bounces off the ground and up off the defender's arm, which was clearly outstretched. So in modern, handball rules, it was a penalty all day you want.
Yep, definitely. Yep, I didn't. As soon as I saw the replay, Derek, referee had a good sight of it, a good view. He had no hesitations, penalty, and a great time of the game to try and take the lead for us nice and early. So, brilliant stuff.
Yep. So up steps Tavernier, full of confidence, into the bottom left corner. Keeper got a slight hand to it, but the power and accuracy tucked it away into the back of the net to make it 1-0. And, it was going great so far.
Certainly was, Derek. As I say, they were trying to come into the game, but we just always sort of felt that we were able to handle whatever they were going to throw at us. The type of game that we actually are, when we're at our best, I think, when we've got a team that's quite good and that are going to try and come at us. And I was feeling really confident, and to have the goal to build on, it was just a great start for us.
Yep. 21st minute, Hadji with a shot from 30 yards, but went just wide of the right post. 28th minute, this was the first major chance that Liege had. It was a cross in from the right from them. The header by the attacker, who got goal side from about 6 yards out, hits the bar, back into play, eventually cleared out for the corner. It initially looked as if McGregor got his fingertips to it, but no, it was a clean header and it just smacked the bar. So it was a really good move from them. They were really good and really dangerous with their crossing. It was just a wee warning that we had to be still very aware. Mm-hmm. 31st minute, lovely passes of play, getting the ball into Morelos, who had a clear chance to shoot from just inside the box, but rather strangely he elects to pass it to our attacker in the box, who was under pressure. I think two defenders were around him there. This is what I was on about in the post-match now, and somebody criticised me for pulling Alfredo up about this, is he's a confidence player. It's very clear to see that, and that for me, Alfie of old, when he's full of confidence, he would have taken that on himself, and he was in the best chance to take a shot himself. Even if it made the keeper make a save, he would have still done it. But he elects to pass to a guy who was under pressure. It just does not make sense. And I've kind of said it before. I think he's a liability when he's like that, because it's worse than playing with a man down sometimes. To
coin an Eminem song, will the real Alfredo Morelos please stand up? Because I couldn't believe my eyes when I seen that chance, Derek. I was on texting you straight away. The Alfredo Morelos that I have been watching for the last 2 years would hit a shot for almost anywhere. Even if there was, no shot on, he would still go for it. And I couldn't quite believe that. That's a guy who is very low in confidence just now. The experts out there are telling us he's playing a slightly different role for Rangers. He's playing slightly deeper. He's getting more involved in play, so it's going to take away his chances. There's a difference between taking away his chances and having a gilt-edged chance, Derek, which he wasn't prepared to take on. That was just really, really baffling for me watching it, and quite sad as well, because you know how much I love the guy. You know how much I think he's an absolutely phenomenal striker. And I really could not believe it when I seen him passing that up and trying to pass it to the side, because it was actually easier for him to get a shot on target than it was to try and turn it, to stop the ball and look up and try and find somebody. Really baffling. I don't know what's going on. We just have to hope that he gets a goal soon, because I think one goal I'll get him his confidence sky high, but really, really baffling.
Yep. On the 42nd minute, Barisic came off, picked up a knock, and Bassi came on, and Bassi slotted right in there, and he was solid, wasn't he?
Yeah, he looks a quality player, Derek. He really does.
Yep. Deep into injury time on the 48th minute, Liege had a quick break up the park, got the ball down the right, a superb cross into the middle of the box. The attacker got in between the two centre-backs, and at first look, it looks as if he got his header to it and it rattled off the bar. It should have been a goal from that, and it was a great cross, poor defending, but on the replay, he did actually use his hand, so I think he was trying for a wee bit of the Maradonas there, wasn't he?
Maybe, yep.
So that ended the first half, and barring them two chances that obviously the referee, you've got to count that chance because the referee never flagged it for a handball. We were solid, we were mopping up any pressure that came to us, we were being in possession when we needed to, and it was a great performance so far, and being 1-0 up at half time, you've got to be happy with that.
Yep, professional, Derek. That's just what it was. I'm not going to say that we were absolutely fantastic, we were dominating, we weren't. But there was not a lot of sloppy play. Everything was extremely efficient. As you say, we were dealing with just about everything that was thrown at us. And, going in 1-0 up home in Europe, you can't ask for much more than that. Just, really professional, really organised, drilled very well. So, I was absolutely delighted, Derek. It was shaping up to be another fantastic European performance at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing you were talking about earlier about, the performances in Europe is, in terms of the Walter Smith run in 2008, there were solid performances in terms of defensive play, but they weren't anything flashy.
No.
They were very perfunctory. We played to our level when we were coming up against a lot bigger teams.
It was based, a run under Walter Smith, Derek, was based on two things: defence and extremely hard work. That's what it was built on. It was, don't lose a goal at home and try and scrape a goal away from home. Exactly what you said. There was nothing fancy at all in the Walter Smith run that we had when we got to the final. It was all down to discipline, really hard work, getting your tackles in, stopping the other team from playing. So it was quite negative. But as you say, we did play to our strengths back then, whereas now, as I'm sure you were about to say there, if I've stole your thunder, yep. It's us that's taking the game to them, isn't it? And we are the better team in these games. I mean, there's only one game that I can really remember where I think we've been really outplayed in Europe, and that was when we played against Leverkusen. And even then, we still had chances, Derek. So it's great to watch as a Rangers supporter, especially watching us for years and years playing in the Champions League and stuff like that. We had some great Champions League nights, but at the end of the day, we only ever got through the Champions League group stages once, and it was with Alec McLeish. And again, it wasn't the Dick Advocaat gung-ho, superstar players that we were paying. It was down again to hard work, organisation, a wee bit of luck as well, whereas this just feels different, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, we're taking the game to these teams. We're controlling it. We're showing very skillful play a lot of the time, and it's very controlled, which is fantastic. But into the second half, on the 47th minute, it was lovely play by Tavernier running with the ball on the right. Got a pass off to Morelos on the right-hand side of the box. Takes a poor first touch, tries to knock it past the keeper who knocked it out of the corner. It was really poor again from Morelos there, just... Again, it's lack of confidence, it seems, there. And then, I wouldn't say the turning point of the game, but it did have a major impact in the 50th minute. The torrential downpour, the the torrential downpour came. It was of biblical proportions.
Unbelievable, yep.
I mean, from listening to other podcasts, reading up on stuff as well, folk in the stadium were saying they've never seen, locals were saying they've never seen any rain like it. It was incredible. And I'm not too sure if it affected it or not, but the stream we were getting, it started to break up as well in the 56th minute. So I think the weather was affecting everything there. 59th minute was lovely play at the edge of the box with Morelos playing a superb backheel pass into Arfield, who was running into the box. He took the ball to the side, he hits a shot, was blocked. It fell to Hadji just outside the box, who looked as if he was going to shoot, but a fly wee pass to Morelos in the box, who had a shot, keeper saved with his legs, and the ball was eventually cleared. This was a one great piece of play that Morelos was involved in as well. And Hadji, what a ball through as well to Morelos to feed him through. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. But we know he can do that, Derek. That is Hadji's strength. Hadji's strength is finding that split-second defence-breaking pass, isn't it? That's, I mean, he is probably the best player in the team that we've got for doing that. And I think once he gets to grips, actually, with the domestic football in Scotland, once he gets to grips with that, we'll see the best of him. But we certainly know what he's capable of. And as you say, that was just absolutely fantastic. What a ball.
Yeah. And then really just shortly after that, the ball really started holding up on the pitch. Now, it was more like a swimming pool than anything. And Dave and I, we've watched Friday Night Lights and we've seen some of the scenes from that and the way they've shot it. And it was something like out of that. The spray was coming up, the mud was coming up, the ball just wouldn't move. You couldn't even pass 3 or 4 yards in front of you. And it was, I think, had the situation not been the whole COVID issue we're facing just now, I'm pretty convinced that game would have been abandoned.
Yeah, I think so, Derek. It was. I was actually quite concerned at one point because I thought, we're winning this game 1-0. This is a fantastic result for us if it stays 1-0 away from home. And I'm saying to myself, 20 minutes to go. That pitch is just, because as soon as they got in the centre, Derek, and in the middle of the park, it didn't look as bad. It looked as if the ball could travel. But as soon as the ball got played onto the wings, you just couldn't. And there was quite a few instances where a couple of your players were gone. They were away, 1-on-1s with the goalkeeper, and then the ball would stick. At the same time, there was a couple of chances for their team as well, where the ball stuck as well. So chances there, but becoming unplayable at one point. And thankfully, it sort of eased off, didn't it?
Only slightly though, because the pitch was obviously, it was done at that point, and it's no criticism to Liege ground staff at all, anything like that. I don't think there was much that could have been done about it at that point, and there's nothing that you can really plan for once there's so much water fell. It takes time to drain away, so can't criticise anyone there. But anyway, in the 64th minute, Bassey got the ball near the left of the box. A lovely cut back to Arfield on the edge of the box. So it's a shot. We went just wide of the post. 66th minute, Hadji off and Aribo on. 71st minute, cross into the box to Morelos. Hits off his leg and straight to the keeper. That was his last piece of play, because on the 74th minute he came off and Roof came on. The ball, it was a bit of a war of attrition at this point. As was said before, the ball was sticking. There was a calamity of errors. It was becoming farcical at this point as well. And it ran to the 92nd minute where Liege got the ball from the right. They crossed it into our box. It seemed to go under the leg of their attacker, who completely misjudged it, couldn't control it, and we robbed the ball. And then, Dave, I just don't have any words to describe this. It's just, wow. So from that piece of move, we got the ball out of our box on the 92nd minute. It fell to Roof maybe about 25 yards from our goal. And he picked up the ball. He runs, bearing in mind the pitch is heavily waterlogged at this point. Yep. You can barely kick the ball. He drives it forward. He shrugs off one guy. He beats him. He takes on two players. He shimmies to the right at just before the halfway line, and he hits a shot. And he lobs the keeper from, I think it was 54 yards out. Just the most incredible goal you've ever seen. And it's went all over Twitter, as we all know. And it's been compared against Rooney's. It's been compared up against Beckham's. Given the conditions, given the fact that he picked up the ball so deep into our own half, given the fact that he had to beat three players and then have the accuracy to beat the keeper, who wasn't that far off his line, bearing in mind, and to hit the back of the net there, I'm still astounded to this day, and I don't think that'll ever leave me. We'll all know where we were when Roof scored that goal.
Derek, I can't really add anything to that. To be honest with you, it is quite incredible. There's more footage came out, I think it was yesterday, of a different angle. Somebody else sitting at a different part of the stadium, or a different camera view. I don't know if you've seen that as well. And it looks even more impressive because this is at sort of ground level. Talk about, as you say, Rooney's goal and Beckham's goal and stuff like that. I'm just going to repeat what you said, Derek. The fact that he's taken the ball for just outside his own box, beat 3 players, got to the halfway line, looked up and seen the goalkeeper off the line and fired the shot over him, like perfectly over him. For anybody to turn around and say it was a fluke is talking absolute nonsense, because if it was a fluke, he didn't mean to shoot, and we all know that he did. It'll be a goal he'll never forget. It's a goal all the Rangers fans will never forget. It's still not quite sunk in, Derek, and I think it's a bit of a shame, because I think if Roof had been more established in the team, we would all be going on. We will be talking about it for years, but the fact he's a new player and we still haven't seen a lot of him. He's, the actual guy's play is still a bit of a mystery, and I'm hoping and praying that that's not all that he's remembered for playing for Rangers. I'm hoping that he's remembered for scoring loads of goals and that being the best one of them all. It's just quite incredible, Derek. I've got nothing. I can't say any more. I watched it. My mouth was wide open. I didn't actually scream or shout when I seen him score it, because I didn't quite believe what I'd just witnessed. It was just absolutely sensational. And for the manager to give him the accolade to say that it was the greatest live goal that he had ever seen, coming from Steven Gerrard, that says it all for me, Derek. It really does. Yeah,
just still a loss for words with that as well.
And I think that is the vast majority of fans have been the same, because they just any Rangers supporter I've met over the last week, right, whether it's been at work or at my laddie's football training, the first thing they say is, "What about that fucking goal?" It's like it's the first thing that everybody says. It was just sensational, Derek. I can't say anymore. It's sensational.
And the folk that were saying it was a fluke, I've only seen a very minority of Celtic fans saying that. And to be fair to them, a lot of them have equally said that it was just an incredible goal as well. And there's fans of other teams that I've spoke to, and they've said that, it was just something outstanding.
I've actually witnessed something on social media, Derek, that I never ever thought I would ever see, and that's Chris Sutton praising anything to do with Rangers, and even he did it. Now, I'm going to let you run out the rest of the game, Derek, and then I'm going to go back to the goal, because there's a few things that I want to ask you. So I'll let you get on and finish the game, and then I want to go back and speak about that goal.
Well, literally the only thing I've got to say about the game after that is there was a thrash at the final whistle as the Standard players took exception to Roof celebrating, apparently made an A and an L sign when celebrating. They presumably thought that he was signing Anderlecht, which he previously played for. However, it's also been said that it was both the initials of his kids. So they were up in our faces, including their bench and their background staff. Given the COVID situation just now, it's an absolute disgrace what they've done. 3 of their players have tested positive since that game, and for COVID, and one of them was playing against us and one of them was an unused sub. So given the situation just now we are facing, I cannot believe UEFA are not absolutely hammering them for that, because if they're getting upset over a wee bit of a sign gesture, that was non-offensive whatsoever, then they need to be taken to task for that. But fortunately we still seem to have escaped any COVID issues in our team so far. Yeah, exactly.
Right, Derek, I tried to get a few people on Twitter today, but I was a bit too late for anybody to get back to me. Now, I'm slightly older than you, Derek. Slightly, didn't be cheeky now. And we've been watching Rangers for a long time. And there's goals that stay with you, and they'll stay with us for the rest of your days. 4 goals for me that spring to mind that I'll always remember where I was when I watched them and saw them happen. Where when Ali McCoy scored the second goal at Elland Road against Leeds United, probably up there with one of the top 2 team goals of all time, where it was all one-touch passes eventually to Hateley on the wing, and the one-touch cross the back post and McCoy's with diving header. That goal will live with me, for the rest of my days. Sensational. Going back to other goals, because I was at the game, the goal against Borussia Dortmund that me and you have spoke about on the pod a few times, where it was like 22, 23 passes, and then the goal, sensational. Going on to individual goals, Paul Gascoigne against Aberdeen when we won the league at Ibrox to win eight in a row, where he basically beat the whole team and scored. George Albert scoring against Celtic at Parkhead in the Cup semi-final, where he basically picked the ball up on the halfway line and just raced past them all and hit a rocket for the edge of the box past the goal line to top. Get goals like that. Nacho Novo scoring, when we won Helicopter Sunday. Brian Laudrup scoring that absolutely sensational header when we won 9 in a row. These goals will live with me and the vast majority of Rangers fans out there that are roughly, the same age as me. These goals they'll remember. And going back to when Davy Cooper hit the free kick against Aberdeen, goals like that, McCoy's overhead kick when he came back for serious injury to win the League Cup. All of these goals are huge. They're symbolic to Rangers, but does Roof's goal out trump the lot of them?
They're all slightly different, aren't they? Because you're talking about the Gascoigne goal was an individual goal. You're talking about the McCoist and Hateley goals. They were team goals as well as outstanding finishes. The Borussia Dortmund one for me will still stand out as the best goal for me, because it was an all-round team goal, and you love that. It was the style, it was the skill, it was everything there. This was a piece of absolute magic, and it certainly rivals Gascoigne's goal against Aberdeen for 8 in a row. It's difficult to say because they're all different, and that was, I wouldn't like to say.
I'm annoyed with myself that I didn't put that out a couple of days ago on Twitter just to try and get gauge an opinion for other Rangers supporters out there to see if it ranks. I think the Gascoigne goal against Aberdeen was an extremely important goal at a crucial part of the game, so possibly more pressure to score a goal, whereas Roof, there wasn't any pressure on us to score another goal, when Roof scored that one, so perhaps the Gaza for an individual goal, could possibly still go down as the, slightly pipping it, but certainly in the last 20 years, Derek, it's got to be up there, especially individual goals. Has probably been the best goal we've scored in maybe the last 20 years, I reckon. Absolutely sensational. As you say, it's another one of these moments in, the life of a Rangers fan where we'll be able to say, where were you when you watched that goal? Unfortunately, every single one of us didn't get to, there's none of us out there got to see it in person, which is the only sort of sad thing about it, isn't it? Because there was no Rangers fans there to actually witness the goal, because that would have been a story and a half to be speaking about in 20, 30 years' time, to say, I was in Liège when Kemar Roof scored that goal when he beat 3 players in his own half and then scored for the halfway line. That's a story. That's a football story to tell folk. But as I say, that's the only downer about that goal is the fact that there was nobody there to witness it.
You know what's going to happen now? He's going to become a cult hero like Gunterman. He's going to be absolute crap all this time, and he'll just be remembered for one goal.
Derek, do you know, that's went through my head because I'm still, I'll be honest with you, but because he's a new player and we've not really seen much of him, have we? Because of injuries and things like that, we still don't know much about him, do we? We still don't know if he's a poacher. We don't know if he's a playmaker, striker, if he's the type of guy that's to play, likes to play up front on his own. We don't know, and I'm hoping and praying that isn't all that we remember him for. That's the only thing. But again, just sensational. It has lifted. It's the European performances and the start we've had to the season, the win over Celtic. It's been absolutely sensational for us. We're on a total high at the moment, and that just that's just been the icing. On the top for us, that goal. It's been brilliant, and long may it continue. Long may these performances continue, because it's just great at the moment, and we're flying high, aren't we?
Yep. So to continue the riding on that crest of the wave, we'll go on to the next game, which was Sunday the 25th of October at home to Livingston in the Premiership, where we won 2-0 also. So it's a third 2-0 on the bounce, I think. 5 changes from the Liege game. So this is the kind of thing that we can do when we've got that depth and quality of squad as well. So we lined up McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Helander, Bassey, Davis, Jack, Aribo, Hadji, Kent and Defoe. On the subs bench we had McLaughlin, Itten, Kamara, Morelos, Jones, Roof, Balogun, Barisic and Arfield. So, and apparently you text me this as well, Livingston were playing with a back five for only the third time this year, and it was the second time they were playing it against us, so kind of says it all.
Alright.
And as I said in the post-match, and as the exact same thing I said to yourself when you sent me that text, it's kind of similar to us playing Barcelona, so you can't really blame Livingston for that. It's up to us to break them down. And
what you talking about, Derek? We would go out blasé against Barcelona the new we'd playing our 4-3-3. I don't know what you're on about, man.
Well, it was really up to us to break them down, and it was a big test for us today, because we know how difficult and stuffy Livingston can be. And it was doubly important in this game because Celtic had dropped 2 points in the game earlier on in that day as well. So, but the first half overall, it was a really good first half, plenty of possession, in control of the game. Livingston tried to hit in the break, but came to nothing as we defended it very well. Considering they were playing 5 at the back, it was fairly open. We did get shots off and chances, and we got our goals. And really, within 15 minutes, I think the game was pretty much wrapped up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, Derek. I mean, I had said to you at the start of the game, Livingston for us has been a potential banana skin, hasn't it? And we knew they were going to be defensive, and we knew that we were maybe going to have a hard game. So I basically said to myself, as long as we get the 3 points in this game, I don't care how the game goes, how we play. But as you said, Derek, in the first half, again, professional, controlled, constantly pressing them, and we got our rewards for that, didn't we?
Yep, absolutely. So the first piece of play I've got here was the actual goal on the 8th minute with Joe Aribo scoring. Effie Ambrose, of all people, gets robbed of the ball near the Livingston box. Hadji picks up the ball, drives it towards goal. Great vision and pass into the box for Defoe, who has a shot, saved by the legs of the keeper, falls to Hadji on the left side of the box, who pounced on it, played a lovely cross and has a more great vision into the back post for Aribo to hit it into the net and past the keeper. Outstanding from Hadji there. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. It was. I think he was one of the guys. He's been disappointed not to get a lot of action recently, and you could tell that he was. He was really up for this, especially in the first half. Derek, that was just great attacking play, and as you say, awareness. Again, going back, we're repeating old ground. He seems to have a third eye, doesn't he, for where his teammates are on the park, and to be able to get the ball away, and that ball across the face of the goal was sensational again, and a relatively easy finish for Aribo. Just great play, pressing the ball. Livingston couldn't handle us at that stage, and it was great to see, especially against a team that we have struggled in the past to break down.
Yep, absolutely. So, in the next piece of play here I've got, which is effectively rounded off the game on the 15th minute, and it was Jermaine Defoe who scored to make it 2-0, and also to get his 300th club goal, which was incredible as well.
And the goal itself, Derek, again, absolutely sensational stuff. Really, for that, this is what dreams are made of for a player. For Defoe to score his 300th goal in this style with that goal is just, you can't ask for any more. I'll let you get into it, Derek, but again, absolutely sensational.
Yep, can't disagree. It was a stunning long ball from the halfway line on the right hand side by Tavernier, right to the middle of the box, and a stunning take from Defoe on his left foot.
It was like the most sublime ball for Tavernier. You really couldn't have got a better ball from him, an accurate ball from him. It was. I still don't know how he managed to get it. And Defoe just basically watched it and nonchalantly just passed the ball into the net in one movement on the volley along the ground. It was just accuracy at its best, wasn't it? It was absolutely sensational. And if it hadn't have been for Roof's goal in the previous game, we would have been going on and on and on about this goal because it was so good. But again, hats off to James Tavernier. we've all, me and you and Craig McCrimmon that was on with us last week, have all been having, he keeps giving me a wee dig. It's every single game now he'll send me a wee text asking me if I still say that Tav's shite, which I never did say at any point, by the way. I'm not going to change my stance. I'm not going to say anything else about Tav because he's playing so well now. I don't want to jinx it. But that ball for Tavernier was absolute world class, and the finish was just out of this world, Derek, wasn't it?
It was just the fact that he taken the ball on his stride as well. It's not as if he had done a wee jink or anything like that. He had literally kept on running, and he just knew instinctively where the ball was and knew exactly how to hit it. And
yeah,
I mean, you just, I was going to say you can't buy that class, but clearly you can, but it was just stunning. And, for being 37, folk were starting to have a few wee grumbles as he passed it now. He's maybe getting on a bit. And, certainly for this level, and I think there's a method to the madness, leaving him out the European squad, save him the travel. They're going to be high intensity games. Bring him in for these games because certainly he's worth his weight in goals, it seems.
Definitely. And again, Derek, the only negative point about it was that Ibrox wasn't packed to see that goal, because that is a goal that could grace any game, any stadium in the world, that one, especially him so highly thought of, and the plaudits that he's received from the media down in England, from all his previous clubs. Everything's been absolutely fantastic as well. So no, absolutely brilliant stuff. It really was the absolute highlight of the game for me.
Yep. However, on the 21st minute, Livingston hit the post after Kent was caught in possession. Livingston got the ball down the left, cross in near the post. The player slid in. It may have come off Goldson, hit the far post, and then bounced off the Livingston attacker. It was going goal bound. Unfortunately, McGregor was in the right position at the right time to gather the ball. Very dangerous. It could have turned the tide of the game again. Being 2-0 up and in full control, going 2-1. It's got the ability to change things, but fortunately we got away with that one there.
Yeah.
23rd minute was great play, getting the ball forward, ending in Bassey getting the ball into the box and putting in a cross near the goal line on the left, forcing the keeper to knock it to the far side. We picked possession back up and knocked the ball and to try and start again. 25th minute, lovely interplay from Jack to Hadji. Hadji plays a great ball through the legs of the defender into the box for Jack, who picks it up, moves to the right, and then a quick shot to the left, but it was little power in it and fairly easy for the keeper. And the last piece of play in the half I've got is in the 37th minute, good play with Bassey on the left, he crosses the ball on the deck into the box, trundles to Hadji with his back to goal, who plays it out the box to Jack, who has a first time shot, curls it round the defenders, was going to the bottom right hand corner, but the keeper managed to get a dive and save and gathers the ball. So got to be happy with that. 2-0 up at half time, only that one wee chance for Livingston, which proved they were still dangerous, but we were in full control.
Yeah, completely, Derek. And as you say, just another dominant performance by us. No 11 Livingston. I mean, that was one mistake from our own mistake, Derek. It wasn't Livingston creating that chance himself, as you say. It was us, a mistake caused by us that caused us. It was basically us that caused more harm to us than what Livingston did. So that's always good to see as well. And on to the second half, where I was hoping that we were going to capitalise and maybe score a few more, but at the same time would have taken the 2-0 at half time with no injuries, no any flash points, just a straightforward win. But I'll let you get into the second half.
Yeah. It was a bit of a damp squib the second half, and I'm not going to really argue with that. It was a tough game on Thursday night. Coming back, playing a potential tough game again. Got to be a lot of weary legs for those who played in the game, obviously wading through water for about 35 minutes. And it's something that we've maybe argued against, is the fact that we've generally last season we were 1-0 up and we struggled to get the second goal, whereas we killed the game off pretty much from the 15th minute. And if it was a weary game for the rest of it, then so be it, because that's you only need to get the 3 points. And it wasn't as if it wasn't as if we played bad in the second half. It was just we never really created much. Livingston never really done much either. But in the 50th minute, Livingston had a free kick from 30 yards, went well over the bar. 57th minute, the ball was whipped in front of the Livingston goal from the left. Tavernier running into the back post, but it was just too quick for him. 60th minute, Livingston get a header into the box from a long cross, and it went well wide of the post. Defoe came off and Roof came on in the 64th minute. 74th minute, it was a double substitution. Kent and Aribo off, Arfield and on. 83rd minute, Hadji off and Jones on. And the last piece of play was on the 85th minute. It was a ball played in around the Livingston box, crossing up into the air from the left hand side. Itten gets his head to it, but a weak effort and easy for the keeper. So there it is, 3 points, and that's all you really want at the end of the day.
3 points, clean sheet, Derek, controlled, professional. You know, we can't ask for any more than that. They did what they set out to do. We dictated the tempo of the game throughout the whole match. I feel that, you know, we could have upped the gears, you know, by 2 or 3 notches if we wanted to. But everybody seemed, you know, as you say, it was a tough game the week before, lots of travelling. So we honestly, it's great, Derek. It's not flashy at all. The goal was sensational. That's what it'll be, you know, we'll remember it for. And, you know, the 3 points is the most important thing, especially with that mob dropping points up in Aberdeen earlier on that day. You know, it gives us now some space between them. We don't have to worry about them, you know, playing the games that they've got in hand, you know, and drawing level. That's us now by rights in front of them. And this right now, Derek, is the crucial stage for me, because we just need to concentrate every game individually and just keep winning. That's all we need to do from now on, because I think if we do, it looks more that they are going to be the ones that will be dropping points at this moment in time rather than us. Again, touch wood, I'm not getting carried away, but this is the crucial time, Derek, and we just have to hope and pray that we keep going the way that we are. The positives for us from this year to last year, we have a much better squad with by far better players in the squad now as well that we can turn to, and things are looking really strong for us, aren't they? So we just have to keep going with that. Confidence is really high at the moment, and you know, it's great to see at the moment. It really is.
You make it sound so simple, Dave, don't you?
I do. It's a simple game, Derek. It's a funny old game. It's a simple game. Basically, just keep winning your games and don't let the other team score. There, simple.
So, we've played 12, won 10, drawn 2, lost 0, scored 28, only conceded 3 so far. Incredible. Goal difference plus 25, points 32. We're currently 6 ahead of Celtic, who have a game in hand. We could be 9 ahead of them at the end of the weekend, because they are playing Aberdeen in the Scottish Cup.
That's crucial for us to, even though they've got games in hand, we would rather have the points on the board. So this next game against Kilmarnock is crucial. We've got to go out. Anything but 3 points is a failure in that game, in my eyes, Derek. We've got to go out and get the 3 points and get the victory.
Absolutely. So in that as well, we're 8 ahead of Hibs and we're 9 ahead of Aberdeen, who they have got a game in hand as well.
I've got to admit, Derek, and I'm shamefully admitting that a couple of weeks ago I tuned in to Radio Snide. It was more to listen to Andy Halliday, and he had some idiot, a Celtic fan, on trying to wind him up. And Andy Halliday came away with, it was very professional, and he came away with a fantastic point that Celtic hadn't had any tough games, Derek. They hadn't been away to Aberdeen at that point. They hadn't been away to Hibs, which we had. All their, against these harder teams were all at home, and he predicted it. He said it'll be, that's where the points will be dropped. They'll be away at these games, and he got slaughtered for it. And there, it's came to fruition so far. Celtic's first big test, apart from playing us, where they were soundly beaten by us. The next big test for them was going to away to Aberdeen, and they failed to get the victory there as well. So, as I say, at this moment in time, it's we've got the wind, between our tails at the moment. Is that the right phrase? Wind between your tails?
Wind beneath my wings.
Because the wind within your sails, maybe? No,
I don't know.
I'm talking shit. Anyway, we've got the momentum, Derek. That's what I meant to say. And, you know, we've got to make sure it stays like that. It's this, as I say, the next game for me is absolutely crucial. We need to go out and get the 3 points regardless, you know, what happens, how we play, get the 3 points. It's all that matters, and really, really ramp the pressure up on them. That's exactly the way to do it.
So the next games we've got is on Thursday the 29th of October at home to Lech Poznan. That's the Europa League Game 2, Group D. That's a 8 o'clock kickoff. That's going to be another big game. Sunday the 1st of November away to Kilmarnock in the Premiership. That's a midday kickoff. That arguably is going to be the more important game of these two we've got coming up. A big test for us away there. Historically, again, we've not done very well over the last couple of seasons there. Plastic pitch as well. So let's hope that we can put the pressure on, as you said. Then it's 5th of November away to Benfica. That's game 3 of the Europa League. And then Sunday the 8th of November at home to Hamilton in the Premiership. And then it's international break. So all to play for there again.
Definitely, yep.
So we'll now go into the classic match.
And then it is! The final whistle's gone! Rangers have won the European Cup Winners' Cup!
So Dave, you've got a 4-goal thriller for us today, haven't you?
I certainly have, Derek, and you know, and I'm sure you'll not remember this game, Derek. I do remember the game, and I remember it for being a revenge match of sorts. It was a Scottish Cup semi-final, which was played on the 18th of April 1989, where Graham Souness's Rangers were replaying this semi-final match against a first division at that point St Johnstone team, where Rangers were at that point humiliated. I'm not going as far as saying humiliated, but embarrassed because St Johnstone held them to a 0-0 draw 3 days earlier in the Scottish Cup. And I actually watched that game as well just to see some of the things that happened, and Rangers really weren't at the races in that game. They had a few chances, but St Johnstone also had a few chances in that game, and Rangers, were littered with international players, but it was just a complete off day. Their main playmakers like Mark Walters just couldn't get into the game at all. The midfield was stuffy. Ali McCoist couldn't do much, and the game finished 0-0, and Rangers got absolutely slaughtered for it in the press completely. Graham Souness got slaughtered for it. Everybody was, in the press were questioning his credentials. And again, going back, a very similar situation, Derek, at the moment to what Steven Gerrard is going through. A young manager at the time, international captain, international player, top European player, and the doubts were coming in after that game. But going into this semi-final replay, Graham Souness and Rangers certainly answered their critics because they did get a fantastic win, albeit against an inferior side. But it was played at Hampden Park, like I said, on the 18th of April 1989. Referee Andrew Waddell, who was quite infamous with the Rangers supporters, was the referee. Rangers lined up on that day: Chris Woods, Gary Stevens, Stuart Monroe, Richard Gough, Terry Butcher. In midfield, Ray Wilkins, Derek Ferguson, John Brown and Mark Walters. And up front, Kevin Drinkle playing the support role to Ali McCoist being our main striker. The St Johnstone team at that point, and trust me, Derek, I've done my homework on this one to get these players, because back then this was a League One, a championship team. It was League One back then, and the St Johnstone goalkeeper's a guy called John Balavage, which I'm sure you'll never have heard of. He was a stalwart in goals for St Johnstone. The only other player that I'd really heard of who went on to carve out a really good career for himself was Roddy Grant, who was playing for St Johnstone at the time. But to start the game off, Rangers were really fired up for this one after all the criticism they'd taken, and they started off very well. Mark Walters with a run to the edge of the box from the wing. He gets the ball into Kevin Drinkle, who hits a fantastic shot, but a great save by Balavic in goal. A few minutes after that was Ali McCoist, who headed just past from a Mark Walters cross. Great determination play by Walters down the wing, and a great ball in. Ali McCoist, quite surprised, never got it in header, but it was just past the post. But then, thankfully, on the 13th minute, Rangers got the early goal to settle any nerves.
Stevens gets it away. Winkle holding off Cherry. This is McCoist. In the middle is Walters. It's a great chance for Rangers. Chance for the opener. Mark Walters for Rangers. 13 minutes gone. A superbly created opening goal. It was started way back by Kevin Drinkle. Just look at the quality of this pass from Ali McCoist. Straight into the path of Walters. Kenny Thompson was chasing in vain. Balavic came out, and that is first class.
It was Kevin Drinkle who got the ball in midfield. He played the ball out to Ali McCoist on the right wing. McCoist looked up and played a fantastic first-time pass infield to Mark Walters, who was running right through the middle of the defence. He gets on the end of the ball, races into the box and fires a fantastic body goal past Balavic to make it 1-0 to Rangers. Great play by McCoist, fantastic finish by Walters. But then there was actually a chance for St Johnstone. Sammy Johnson on the left wing, he cuts inside and hits a low shot across, but it was well saved by Chris Woods to get his hands on that. And then not long after that, corner by Mark Walters on the left into the box. Kevin Drinkle fires a header to the top corner of the goal, but the defender manages to get a clearance. I don't know how he did it. Rangers really should have scored there. Mark Walters was the main man for Rangers at this stage, though. He was running the show. St Johnstone players could not get near him. He was going one way, going the other. He's a double shuffle that he was known for. His speed of the guy, they couldn't get near him. He really was. And then, thankfully, right at the end of the first half, Rangers scored a fantastic second goal.
That's towards McCoist. Holds it up, waits for Walters. Well, that's good play. Now Gary Stevens. Absolutely brilliant from Stevens. Right on the half-time whistle. The killer goal from Rangers. Superb pass from Monroe. Look at this from McCoist, looking up. He spots Walters. Look at the way he controls this. Goes past one man, looks up, spots Gary Stevens, and there's the first time volley which beat Balavic.
Again, Walters in the midst of things here. He receives the ball on the left wing, cuts inside, cuts past his man, spots Gary Stevens making a run into the box and just dinks a sort of cross ball right into the path of Gary Stevens, who volleys the ball, almost takes the goalkeeper's head off. He hits the ball that hard, right past the keeper into the net. A fantastic goal and a collector's item for Gary Stevens scoring a goal like that. You know, he was a phenomenal player. England international, you know, played in the World Cup, Italia 90. You know, a great player, but he didn't often get to see him scoring a lot of goals. His speciality was his long throw-ins, but it was a tremendous goal to give Rangers the second one and going into half-time. Into the second half, Gary Stevens again with a through ball to Ali McCoist, who hits a low shot just past the post. But then on the 46th minute, just a minute into the second half, Rangers hit a third.
Drinkle, Brown making progress on the left. The cross comes over, and it's Drinkle! Kevin Drinkle for Rangers. The first minute of the second half, and the St Johnstone hearts now surely are broken. Great surging play on the left from John Brown, sprinting forward, whipping over that cross to the near post area. There was Drinkle sliding in, the ball going in off the post.
John Brown, on the left-hand side of midfield, he runs down the left wing. He puts in a great low cross into the ball for Kevin Drinkle, and with an outstretched boot, slides out and makes it 3-0 to Rangers. Great poacher's instinct there by Kevin Drinkle to make it 3-0. And Rangers just bombarding St Johnstone now. John Brown with a shot just inside the box, well saved by the goalkeeper. Ali McCoist then with a thunderous shot from the right-hand side corner of the box. How the keeper, saved it, I don't know. It wasn't working out for McCoist. I don't know how he hadn't scored at this point. Then it was Richard Gough on the ball with a long pass into the path of McCoist, who hit a fantastic low shot and a great diving save by the keeper. McCoist must have thought it wasn't going to be his day, but thankfully he got his chance on the 63rd minute where he finally gets the goal.
Walters, but Cherry's there, he loses out to Walters. Great chance again for Rangers. McCoist this time. 18 minutes into the second half. Ali McCoist gets the goal he's been working so hard for all night. Unlucky that for Paul Cherry, but fine play from Walters. Looks up, sees McCoist coming into the near post, slid into his path and no chance at all for
Mark Walters actually stole the ball off of Cherry on the right wing. He sees McCoist running to the front post and lays the ball off for McCoist to fire home to make it 4-0. The game had really put to bed by that point by Rangers. The pace had slowed down. But the one interesting point later on in the game was the substitution that was made. And something, Derek, that I can remember, but, I was glad that I watched this back just to see it. And it was Andy Gray of Sky Sports fame and English top flight and Scotland fame, who is Rangers fanatic, always wanted to fulfil his dream to play for Rangers. Thankfully, he did get there. He came on as a sub for Kevin Drinkle near the end of the game and almost scored with his first touch. Didn't just quite get enough power on a flick at goal from a John Brown cross. So really unlucky there. But great to see Andy Gray playing for Rangers because, like I said, Derek, I can remember him playing. So it was good to see these games back and watch him, being able to play for Rangers as well, even if it was for, say, a short time in his career. So, it was that put Rangers through to Graham Souness's first Scottish Cup final at Hampden. Unfortunately, the final didn't work out, but we'll not get into that at the moment. But no, if you get the chance to go back, watch this game. Great to see the likes of Mark Walters playing again. He was one of my favourite players, Mark Walters, and some great goals in it as well. So really pleased that I watched that one back, Derek, and I will have another classic match ready for us in the next pod.
My God. You feeling okay?
Didn't he start, mate?
Yes, Dave was on the ball with that game there. The highlights I've got show a wee bit the first leg, or I would say the first leg, the original game as well, before it got taken to a replay, and we were fairly decent, I thought, in the highlights anyway. I don't know what the full game was like, but we had chances, but St Johnstone had chances as well, but fortunately we wrapped it up in the replay.
Yes.
So, we'll now go into the news. So rather unusually, we don't actually have a lot of news to talk about this week, but that's maybe because we only went a week before we'd done the last podcast. So first one I've got here is it was just announced today that Rangers have announced the opening of a new store in Glasgow. It's next to Sauchiehall Street entrance of Buchanan Galleries, along with Castore. They're opening that. I'm sure one of my mates told me about this before. I think it's where the H&M used to be at that point there, so it's a fantastic spot, a lot of footfall. I've seen a few grumbles about it online. I'm really not sure why. It'll surely at least break even. A massive exposure, as I said. There's a lot of footfall. We need a store in the city centre, and I'm sure that I heard as well that the next line of merchandise, like all the like the ducks and all that kind of stuff that are coming out shortly. So it'll be
I need a duck. I need a duck in my life, Derek.
It's obviously, for me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So, opens up at 9 a.m. on Saturday. They've also said that over the next coming weeks and months they'll be announcing new locations as well in Edinburgh, Belfast and Glasgow Airport. So fantastic, yeah. Certainly if they're announcing it in conjunction with Castore, then I can imagine Castore would have had a lot in terms of hopefully the finances to put it in place as well. So it's good to see, and it's about time we've got more exposure like that.
Brilliant, Derek. I was actually in myself and my wife and 2 kids decided to go into Glasgow last week just to go shopping because it was still the school holidays. Glasgow city centre was an eerie place, Derek, where all the sort of eating places all closed down, but all the shops were still open, Derek, and it was the first thing that I spotted when we were walking down Buchanan Street towards Argyle Street. Just as you get to the St Enoch Centre area, I looked across and the signage was there for the old Rangers shop, and I thought, it's it's something that the city centre does need. Going by the location, as you said, Derek, that's a fantastic location. And if there's going to be another store, through in the Edinburgh end of Scotland as well, that's great as well. Still not as good as when we had wee shops popping up everywhere, and I had one just along the road in the High Street in Falkirk, which was fantastic. But who knows, Derek, that might come. That there might be more places added to that, but it is a sign that that we are getting back. A big shop, great area, as you say, lots of people, lots of shoppers, and I'm sure you've got absolutely no doubts that the store will be stowed out. Any time you go into it, and there'll be even more stock sold. It's I've certainly seen a lot of things. There's some absolutely cracking training sweatshirts and things like that I was thinking about treating myself to. So I would rather go in and have a look at them than order them online. So just brilliant. I'm really, really pleased. That's great news.
Mr. Moneybags there, eh? Suppose you've not had your 5 holidays this year, so you need to spend your money on something.
Exactly, Derek. Come on, you're depressing me here.
Next thing here that came out today was UEFA have confirmed that Scotland will have 2 Champions League spots for next year. So that's the winners of the league this year will go into the third qualifying round, and the runners-up will go into the second qualifying round. The Scottish Cup winners, rather strangely, will get the third qualifying spot for the Europa League, and third and fourth place in the league will get a place in the new Europa Conference League in the second qualifying round. I don't understand what kind of the league places are missing out a place in the Europa League, which doesn't really make sense to me. I would have preferred it to be, 2 places, or at least the third place in the league gets the Europa League place.
Yeah. It's a strange one, that, Derek. But again, it shows how far we have come. European performances have been so good, and it's got the coefficient right up. And again, something that I always put out on any sort of posts on social media when Rangers have a great victory in Europe. I always tag them as being the saviours of Scottish football, and that's what we are, Derek, because this is down to us. Don't let any of that mob across the road tell you that it's to do with them, because they have been serial losers in Europe. Especially in the big competitions. This is down to us. Some fantastic results that we've had, and it's really lifted the coefficient up. So again, I've got no doubts, Derek, it will be down to us again, to keep playing well, because the rest of the teams don't seem to rise to the occasion when they're playing in Europe. I'm not just talking about them, I'm talking about the rest of Scottish football. These games that these smaller clubs have should be the showcase games of the season, the games that all the players are really looking forward to, regardless who the opposition is. But they always seem to fall short, don't they? So, brilliant. And again, it shows how well we're doing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Next story here I've got is the mini Ibrox made by David Resnick, aka Stadiums France, has crossed the Atlantic and has been taken into the custody of the Rangers Charity Foundation for a raffle. So they're looking to get £10,000 worth of ticket sales. It's £10 a ticket or £20 for 3, and it said they're just short of their target with only a few days to go before the end of the thing. So they're currently sitting at £9,804 of their £10,000 target. So certainly only a few more tickets to go. It would seem that they push them over the line, and I think the draw for whoever's getting the mini Ibrox will be getting made, I think, on Monday it is. So I'm not going to wish anyone well, because I've put in for 3 tickets myself. So
no, it's very impressive, Derek. I mean, imagine being the owner of that. That's a fantastic, I'll not call it a souvenir, I'll call it a work of art to have in your home. So a great gesture as well. And as you say, I've got no doubt at all the target will be met. If you're saying that they're just short, that will be done very, very soon. And I will say good luck to everybody out there, and well done for entering as well.
Yep. Last piece of Rangers news I've got here is Rangers fan and WWE superstar Drew McIntyre has finally lost his WWE title to Randy Orton at Hell in a Cell. So I hope there's no spoilers to anyone who's no watched it yet. That was after over 200 days holding the title, and I'm absolutely gutted that he never got to parade it in front of the 50,000 at Ibrox. But with his meteoric rise over the last kind of year or so, I'm sure there'll be other times where he'll hold the title as well. So I know that means absolutely nothing to you, Dave, doesn't it?
It's went right over my head. All I heard that you had a Randy Horton So I don't know quite. I don't know. Going by you, Derek, that could mean anything, you know. So I'm not. But no, I do know who he is. I know he's a big Rangers fan, and I know that it was a big deal in the wrestling circle. And as you say, it would have been quite cool to for him to have paraded that in front of the Rangers fans. But unfortunately, I don't know how it works, Derek. If he'll have the chance to win it back or no, or whatever, I'm not quite sure. But it's just a shame that he didn't get to travel over, because that would have been a lot of publicity as well. So.
Yeah, and I know he's pushing for the WWE to have a pay-per-view over in Britain somewhere, so hopefully with his connections, Rangers can finally, during the off-season, get back to holding some sort of events inside Ibrox, because I know we used to do it with concerts and boxing events fairly regularly. So hopefully that's something that we could look for other commercial ways as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But the next thing here I've got here in the last piece of football news, and it's no related to us as such, and we don't try and mention them, but I just thought it was very interesting what Celtic announced this week, and it is their pre-tax finances have suffered a massive hit. Last year's profits were 11.3 million. This year's is £100,000. So Celtic are blaming COVID, which I'm absolutely sure wouldn't have helped. However, when you dial it down and look at it, this is the third year in a row that they've not made the Champions League. Yep. To counter that, over the last two seasons, they lost £20 to £30 million revenue. They've always sold a big money player. So 2 years ago it was Dembele. Last year it was Kieran Tierney for allegedly £25 million. Now, I'm pretty certain they wouldn't have got all that in the winner, but they would have at least got £10 million of it, I can imagine, depending on how the deal was structured. That would make up for the shortfall, and that would show the £11 million profit last year. It's not rocket science. It's as Dave King said, a deck of cards. They have got a few court cases coming up, which we won't get into for legal reasons, obviously, which could have a massive impact on their finances as well. They've not sold the players that they thought they might have sold. They haven't got the Champions League money again. Unfortunately, our success in that will give them a regardless of if we win the league or not, it will give them a chance at it next year as well. So that's a bit of a downer, I suppose, in that respect. But Celtic are in dire straits in terms of finances, and don't let anybody pull the wool over your eyes when it comes to our finances. We've just had the last podcast there last week. As we said, we've got an investor putting in £5 million and the other investors putting another £3 million. So yeah, we've still got a shortfall each season, but we've finally got the retail deal sorted out, which should hopefully bring a lot of that back up. COVID you can't take into account, unfortunately. Now we don't know how that's going to pan out. However, Celtic have got the same COVID issues as us. They've not got the same overt investors we've got, because you hear about it all the time. We're getting investors, we're getting share issues. We seem to have that all the time. It's looking both on and off the park just now exceptionally rosy for us, and I hope that continues. And
looks like their sham vote to award them the title to get their champions or a chance for the Champions League money, Derek, has blown up in their faces because they got humiliated again in European competition. And again, this is what really gets me, is when you hear any of them telling you that Europe doesn't matter and the league is the most important thing. Let me tell you this right now, that is the biggest lot of utter bollocks that I have ever heard. And I have lived through Rangers winning 9 in a row, and I mean winning 9 in a row properly on the park, and constantly being told by that mob that the only way that we would prove that we are a top-class team is by playing in Europe and beating top-class teams. And now all of a sudden, because the tables have turned, Europe doesn't matter. Absolute bollocks. They depend on that money, Derek. They depend on the big money for Europe, and as you say, if they don't get it, they've got to rely on selling their players. That's not happened this year. So all the bloody financial experts out there that they've got in their support, all these guys that are on the dole and do fuck all, but they know absolutely they've got a master's in finance and stuff like that. They're all being very fucking quiet now, Derek, and it's quite incredible that it's all just getting blamed on COVID at the moment, because they're trying everything they can to get the fans back in, the stadium. And as you say, with everything else that's happening off the field, at the moment, it's not looking too clever for them. And again, we don't like to speak about them a lot, but just, this whole thing about them saying that Europe doesn't matter and it's not important and all that, it's a league, that's a lot of tosh, Derek. It really is.
But they've got £30 million in the bank, apparently.
Aye, yeah. Heard it all before. As you say, Derek, you hit the nail right in the head there. For their lack of Champions League football, they have to rely on selling big name players, and they've not been able to do that this season. And when you're hearing about certain deals that they've got for certain players, that they are paying their wages plus a $2 million loan fee, and they don't even own the guy. It's quite incredible. And a guy that's been very, very poor for them, that was supposed to be a marquee signing. It's, things are, we were hearing about a lot of things that are happening in the dressing room and, things like that. But again, I stress that we need to concentrate on ourselves, forget about them. The only time that we need to concentrate on them is when we're playing them. We've already destroyed them this season, Derek. Very, very easily destroyed them and beat them. So we've just got to concentrate on ourselves now and make sure it's us that's picking up the 3 points and let them have their meltdown, because I'm sure it's going to happen.
I think it's already happening with Neil Lennon. It's quite clear that he's not had the pressure since he came back until now, and the first signs of a wee bit of pressure, he's completely losing it with his comments that have came out in the press.
So fake news, Derek.
Fake news, aye, exactly. So, on that note, a man who was sacked for pooing in front of his colleagues told a hearing explosive diarrhoea was to blame.
Derek, I hope this isn't an ex-colleague of ours, I really don't.
Anthony Lear was sacked after he answers a call of nature on site in front of shocked colleagues. He was given the boot following past unrelated incidents. Mm-hmm.
Past unrelated incidents. Right, okay.
A man was sacked after he pooed in front of his colleagues on site twice. Australian production technician Anthony Lear claimed he was unfairly dismissed for answering the call of nature. The metals worker had been employed by BHP while Western Australia Iron Ore for 7 years before he was let go back in April. However, he has lost his fair claim against his former employees, claiming the tribunal hearing. According to documents from the FMC, Mr. Lear was fired after he defecated in an active work area twice in the Yandy mine of Western Australia.
A minor as well, Derek. A minor. That's a private joke between us. There you go.
Documents reveal that he was accused of relieving himself down an active drill hole on one occasion and on the collar of an active drill hole the second time.
Okay.
The documents state this conduct occurred, said the respondent, against a backdrop of unsatisfactory workplace behaviour, which, when considered with the instance, led to the dismissal of Mr. Lear.
Oh dear.
But he did argue that the toilet facilities were not provided at his worksite and claimed he was given no valid reason for his sacking. While he also claimed to be suffering from explosive diarrhoea, he took action to cover his bodily waste as soon as he finished relieving himself.
Oh my God. So it wasn't just the danger, natural gases escaping from the mine. It was gases coming for him as well. It was maybe going to cause problems.
Well, funnily enough, a witness, Mr. Joel Gardner, saw Mr. Lear drop a rock down the hole, which
Joel Gardner, did you say there?
Joel.
All right, okay.
He saw him drop a rock down the hole, which sounded like a gas bang on March the 9th this year. And when Mr. Gardner asked the defendant why he did that, Mr. Lear said, "I took a shit down the hole."
But was he Dutch, the guy?
Yes. The report claims the nearest toilet was an 8-minute drive away, and on that occasion, the colleague was warned, "I'm about to shit myself, turn around, turn around."
Again, Derek, that's deja vu for us with one of our ex-colleagues. That's too close to be the whole minor thing and having problems.
Well, another colleague of Mr. Lear said they had reported to have noticed a bad smell and spotted Mr. Lear squatting on the blast collar.
Oh my God!
The colleague was told by Mr. Lear, "I couldn't hold it in."
Poor guy, Derek. Poor guy. Maybe we got IBS or something like that. You never know.
So, on that very disgusting note,
yes,
we'll end the podcast right there. So, as ever, if you want to check out our stuff, you can go to our website, which is ireadypodcast.wordpress.com, and I've still not properly updated it yet. I don't know if I'll ever get around to it these days, but hopefully at one point. So, we hope we've got a great result again at the weekend and on Thursday night. I'll be back with a post-match report from after each of them. I'm not too sure, Dave, when we'll be recording again. Maybe next week, maybe the week after.
Yes. Yeah, here's as I say, I will quite gladly take another 2-0 victories, Derek, over the next 2 games. That's what I would be delighted with. So here's hoping we can do it.
Absolutely. So thanks for listening and goodbye.
Take care, folks. Goodbye.
And the stadium erupts in red, white, and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go.
Brace yourself.
Rangers are coming!
I'm sorry, Lenny, I love you, but it's time to go. I'm sorry. It's time to go. Because what we're going to do, guys, it's Lenny, we don't want to sack him, Celtic to the core. We'll be fucking 10 points behind by Christmas!